Hello everyone, Brikosaurus227
and Spider-Miller here. Today we are doing this sort of special collab to review the Dart Zone / Adventure Force Nexus Pro X.
Instead of our usual review format, for just this review, we thought we'd switch things up by mixing our reviews on each of our channels.
If you want to see my overview and final thoughts, you can find those on Briko's channel.
And if you want to hear mine, go check out Spider's review on his channel.
So without further ado,
let's get started with the review of the Dart Zone Adventure Force Nexus Pro X.
what up, dude bro? Spider-Miller. Today, with this fun little collab we are doing, I am looking at the Dart Zone Nexus Pro X. This thing is a powerhouse of a blaster. So let's get into it.
Included is the blaster itself, stock, 2 magazines, sights, safety glasses, scar barrels, and darts, and instructions.
Let's start a basic overview, starting off with the grip. The grip is really good. It actually has a lot more of a smoother, rounded feel as to the original Nexus, which had a more squared off kind of feel. It feels a whole lot better. Also, it can be switched out with other grips like an AR-15 grip or just other gun grips. Like, it's literally designed to be switched with real steel grips, which is really cool. Right here we have the stock, which is 100% adjustable. It can go about up to here, and it's pretty comfortable up here. It's not too short. It might be a little short for big people, but I'm a pretty big person, 6'3", and this is perfectly fine for me, but it might be short for some bigger people, so keep that in mind. However, no need to fear. It's perfectly serviceable stock, and it's buffer tube, so that's great. Now, do know it's a slightly shorter buffer tube than some others, but it should be fine. Back here, there's a little switch that you hit here, and you lift off the back here, and there's a little O-ring in there, and there's also some other stuff in there. Hold on. Huh?
Briko, I'm at the mall. You gotta stay focused.
Fine, Spider, I'll be focused. You shush. Moving on, we do have a scope. This is kind of a faux scope. It's not actually a reliable scope. However, I have been actually able to use this somewhat reliably as a sight. I've been able to hit targets dead on from like 80 feet away with this sight, which is actually really good. Just like the original Nexus Pro, there's a little switch here to unjam your blaster, which is nice. I haven't experienced a single jam, but if you were to get one, just poke that and you can deprime the blaster, which is really cool. Right here, we obviously have the safety, which is pretty fine, pretty standard safety, just like the original Nexus. The trigger is absolutely amazing, a very nice and crisp pull. It's very smooth, and really one of the best triggers I think I've gotten my hands on from Dart Zone. The mag release here, actually, I complained about it first, but it's really good. And let me tell you why. So first off, I was kind of mad that you couldn't just flick it with your finger and drop the mag, because to use this, you have to put your finger in front of this mag release, and then you can draw out the mag. However, that's actually genius when I think about it, because that'll make sure you don't accidentally hit your mag release and drop the mag, because the mag will 100% drop. So I really like this mag release here. It's actually really well designed, and it's a lot better than I thought it would be. And there's another mag release option, which is really cool if you want to do that. The mag itself is really high quality. I hear Talons are slightly better, but this thing is really high quality and miles ahead of the original Dart Zone mags. They're just really great, and some of the best short dart mags I got my hands on. Actually, the best. I don't have any Talon mags, but I'm sure Talon mags are better. But the mag well is slightly flared, which is really nice and allows for some really quick and easy loading and a very fast reload if you're used to it. But yes, this does include 2 mags. Thank you, Dart Zone. I really appreciate it. I would have been really mad if you gave us these nice quality mags and not give us another option. Sell these separately, please. The main foregrip is something I thought I would hate, but it's actually really comfortable. The angle doesn't actually bother me at all. It's really way more comfortable than I thought. Now, my original complaint with the first Nexus Pro was the wobbly grip and wobbly stock. The stock here is pretty much no wobble at all. However, the grip even though the wobbliness is not as apparent as it used to be in the original Nexus, it is still wobbly and it's still somewhat noticeable, and it is kind of annoying. There are 2 rails on the side. They're Picatinny. There's a whole Picatinny rail on top. There is a P-car barrel, which improves accuracy somewhat, but it does decrease range. The B-car improves accuracy, and it doesn't seem to have much of an effect on range. The overall build quality of this blaster is just so much better than the original Nexus. I really like it. Also, these safety glasses are actually really cool, and I think they're somewhat of an improvement over Dartzone's original. They're not as comfortable, but they have a protection on the sides and on the top, keeping your eyes really safe. To operate the blaster, you simply hit the mag release, load in some darts. The magazine is advertised as a 12-round mag, however you can comfortably hold 13 rounds in this mag. Load the mag, pump the blaster, and fire. This blaster also has slam fire, so hold down the trigger, and the prime on this is really smooth. It takes effort to do it, but it's insanely smooth, which is really nice. But before I go to my final opinions, let's move to the firing demo.
Starting off with Ember Darts. Slam fire. Now Ruby has one dart. Slam fire. Now some X-shot darts.
Now I'm using a Do-Re-Mi mag just for video visibility.
So I put this thing over my chronograph. With Ember Darts, I got an average of about 200 feet per second, which is about what they averaged for the Ember Darts. But then I also put Ruby Darts over the chronograph, and I was getting an average of about 195 feet per second. But these darts were kind of inconsistent. These were not the most consistent because I was getting high shots of over 200 FPS, low like 185. So these were a little more inconsistent. And with X-shot darts, I was getting an average of about 201 feet per second. And these were pretty consistent as well.
So what are my thoughts on the Nexus Pro X? Well, it's a really cool blaster, and probably one of Dartzone's best. Now, I've seen a lot of unfair comparisons going around with this thing, and it goes on both extremes. The original Nexus Pro feels like a cheap knockoff of this, but this is the improvement of that blaster. And I think people have been digging a little bit too much on the Nexus Pro when that original blaster did so much for the hobby. However, this is such a big improvement that people have been comparing it to blasters like the Harrier and the Seagull. And that's not really fair either. This is a $50 blaster. And comparing it to $200 or $120 blasters is not fair. That is a different league. That being said, for $50, this is a really good option for a budget pro nerfer, and it's still a good option regardless. It's a good blaster. It's very usable. The included value of having these the B-car and the Scar Barrel is really cool because separately, those are $20 for that pack. So you have a $50 blaster that gives you a blaster that's better than the original, plus the other $20 value of having this extra stuff. And you can even get spring upgrades for $10 to lower the power or make it or pump it up to 250 FPS. And I actually have a brand new rating system I set up where every blaster starts out as a 10 out of 10, and then as I find things to go, I deduct points. I can't find much to complain about with this blaster. However, there are a few things. First off, the front handle, like I said before, it's very wobbly and it kind of can get annoying. This does allow you to kind of double load accidentally by just doing that and then priming it all the way, and you have a double shot. There's really not much to complain about here. It's nearly a perfect blaster. And the only thing I really complain about is the wobbly foregrip, which is still better than the original. It's less wobbly than the original, but it is still there. I'll probably have to give this thing a 9.5 out of 10. I would give it a 10 out of 10, but I've been wanting to be more fair with my ratings, be a little bit more critical, and I literally can't with this blaster. The only complaint I have is that it's a wobbly foregrip. One complaint I almost put on here is that it should have been full length compatible as well, but realistically, you can't do both and have a really good system. It's kind of hard to have it compatible with both and have a very solid system. So I understand that part. And I think this is one of Dart Zone's, if not Dart Zone's best blaster they've released. It's absolutely great, and I would totally recommend it if you want a budget pro level blaster, or if you just want to get another pro level blaster and you don't have the extra 120 or to spend on a Seagull or 200 to spend on a Harrier. This is a good option, and the sights work extremely well. The accuracy is good. It's just a really good blaster. Only thing I've noticed is that it does have some inconsistencies with the Ruby darts from the Max line. I don't know if that's just this blaster, but I have noticed that. A really good blaster, and I would totally recommend it. It's one of Dart Zone's best, and I'm kind of glad Dart Zone's getting back in the game, because I was kind of worried, to be honest, in 2023. They had some problems, but they're coming back in full force. So, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for checking out this unique collab. We hope you enjoyed it.
And we can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.